So the other way to do a loop is using the range function. So the range function actually creates a list, okay, from 0 to this number minus 1. So for example, a equals to range 5. So it will create, okay, a list from 0 to 5, okay, without the 5. Let's go back to the loops. So we can use this in our tables, okay, in the nested loop example. So for example, now I have a table, so I'm going to use a nested list, okay, to create a table. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9. So you can see that this is like a table. So I have 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you can see that like this is the rows and the columns. And let me remove this first. So for nested for loop, we have to use two loops. So a loop inside the loop. And we always go by the rows and the columns. Okay, so okay. So we have three rows, 1, 2, 3 here. So you can use the range function, okay, to represent the three rows. Since there's no list here, we just use this. Okay, and for the columns, okay, we have also three columns. So you can see that this is the first loop and this is the nested loop. So this loop is inside the first loop. And therefore, when you hit enter over here, okay, it is another indentation. Okay, so to get the value for each of them, I need to same thing, use the lists. Okay, but now I have the rows and columns, so I have to specify the rows and columns here. So that in mathematics, this is similar to the matrix. Okay, so I have x here and I have y. Okay, so what is happening here is that for the first instance, okay, I have 0, 1, 2. In range 3, I have 0, 1, and 2. Okay, and then for y, similarly, range 3, I have base 0, 1, and 2. So, okay, so for the first iteration here, okay, the x is equals to 0. This is 0. Okay, then I come to this particular loop. So I will start from 0 as well, okay, because this is the first position. So I will print 0 and 0 because this starts from 0, and this will also start from 0. So my first iteration here is 0, 0. So once I complete this, I come back to the inner loop here, this particular loop. So now this will becomes the next item, which is 1. So I have changed this to 1. But because my loop over here has not complete, okay, so this particular x is still at 0. So when I go to the second iteration, this table is at 0 and 1. Same thing, I complete this. This will goes to 2 because this is my third iteration. So this will becomes 2, and I will print 0, 2 here. Okay, once it's complete, okay, you will go back to the first loop. And this first loop will increase the 0 to 1. Okay, then I start the loop again, this will restart from 0 again. So over here, when I print this particular table, so it becomes table 1 and 0. Likewise, I will go for another 2 rounds, so I will change this to 0, then 1 and 2. So after I complete this, okay, I come back to here. This has one more round, so it becomes 2, and I restart the loop in the for the Y portion again. So it starts from 0 and it goes 2 more round, 0, 1, 2. Okay, then come here, and this is already completed, so we'll exit this whole loop. Okay, so we can see from here x, y, and the table value. Okay, so you can see how it turns out. So let's run the loop and see. So the first time it is at 0, 0, then it's 1. So this is x, this is y. Okay, and this is the value of the table. So the first round it will be at 0, 0, then 0, 1, 0, 2. So you run through every column, then it goes to the second row. So it will start, you will go to second one, which is 1. But for the inner loop, it will restart from 0. So you can see that it is 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. However, for the for the outer one, it will go from 0, then 1, then 2. Okay, so this is how it travels through the entire table. Okay, so this is for the nested loop. Okay, then the other loop that we have is the while loop. Okay, so this is the while loop, and of course, while is a keyword, so the same thing when you type while, they will change color. Okay, with our example in our lecture notes, we have a at 5. So we want to we want to check whether a is a negative number. So we will say we will check whether a is more than 0. Okay, so this is the condition. Okay, and then it will start by executing what is below here lah. Okay, the instructions. So we can do a print. So as you can see, the condition, it will always be true because a is always more than 0 because it's 5. Okay, let's remove this comment out so that we only do this particular loop, while loop. Okay, you can try it out by running it. So you can see that it keeps on running. Okay, you see there's quite a lot of it runs for quite a lot of times. Okay, let's clear this. It's the new one. So it never ends. It will keep on running. Okay, so we need to, usually for while loops, we need to have something that breaks the loop. Okay, so in the example that we were using in the lecture notes, we minus off 1, okay, each time the loop is run, so it will go down. Okay, this number will go down, so eventually this will become a false, and then it will get out of the loop or break the loop. So here we are certain that it will only run for a few times. Okay, rigid for loops is when we are not sure how many times the loop will run. Okay, for example, now instead of just 1, we give some random numbers. Okay, we don't know how many times this will run. Okay, so we can use a counter. Okay, equals to 0, so that it counts. Okay, each time it is run. Okay, then we just let it run, and at the end we will see how many times it run, because now we are unsure how many times this particular loop will run. Okay, now we know that okay, this particular loop runs for 156 times. Okay, because at first we are unsure how many. Okay, so usually this is when we will use the while loop. But for loops, you can see that we put in absolute numbers like 3, okay, or we use a list and we know that your list has a certain number of items. So for for loops, we usually use them for items or lists that we are absolutely sure how many times we need to run them. However, for while loops, we are not too sure. Okay, so we will use a while loop, but it is uh, it is critical that you have to put in some breaks so that there will be one time when the while loops have to stop. If not, it will keep on running forever and it may crash your system.